there gardeners, welcome to my channel. Today I'm transplanting elephant garlic into my garden, and I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to show you guys how to grow elephant garlic and explain the pros and cons of growing it over the traditional garlic cultivars. If you're new here, my name is Jara and I teach people how to garden and grow food. If you are trying to grow a green thumb, make sure you subscribe to my channel because I post educational and inspiring content to help you become a successful gardener on a daily basis. First off, what is elephant garlic? Elephant garlic, also called buffalo garlic, is part of the allium family, like other garlics, onions, and leeks. It is more related to leeks than garlic. Mature elephant garlic bulbs can grow as big as a small onion and have a sweet, mild garlic taste, making it perfect for dishes where you want that garlic flavor without the intense bite. Let's talk about the pros and cons of growing elephant garlic instead of traditional garlic. Starting with the pros. These bulbs are impressive and can reach up to 4 inches in diameter, so you get more garlic per bulb. This is one single clove off from an elephant garlic bulb, which usually has about 4 or 5 of these bunched together to make one elephant garlic bulb. Its mild flavor makes it perfect for roasting and using in dishes where you want garlic's essence without the strong taste. Lastly, elephant garlic is less prone to pests and diseases compared to regular garlic. And my favorite reason of all, think of elephant garlic as a tropical version of regular garlic. It grows much better in warm climates because it doesn't need as much cold weather or cold chill hours to trigger the bulbing process. This is super handy for us gardeners in the South or in Florida, like me, where winters are mild and regular garlic might not bulb up properly because it doesn't get cold enough. It also does not require vernalization like regular garlic. That's when you put garlic in the fridge for 6 to 8 weeks before planting to trick it into thinking that it had a winter. I'm still planting softneck garlic this season, but I also plant some elephant garlic as a backup just in case my softnecks don't do too well. Even though I called it a tropical garlic, it can still be grown in colder climates starting at zones 3 and up. It is cold hardy down to -20 degrees Fahrenheit. If a freeze or snow is expected, the leaves will die back, but if you heavily mulch the base or the bulbs, it will survive and start growing again in spring. However, it is essential to consider the cons as well. Elephant garlic requires more space in the garden due to its larger bulbs. Plants can get around 2 to 3 feet tall. Its mild flavor might not be suitable for those who love the intense flavor of regular garlic. The flavor of elephant garlic is more reminiscent to leeks with a touch of garlic. Elephant garlic is softer compared to regular garlic and therefore doesn't store as long. Expected to last 8 to 10 months after proper curing and storing compared to sometimes over a year with regular garlic. Okay, so you've decided to grow elephant garlic. Now, where do you buy some bulbs? You can try to purchase a bulb from the grocery store and sometimes it will sprout when planted. Try to buy organic elephant garlic, which shouldn't be sprayed with inhibitors. I purchased my bulbs from an online nursery grown for the purpose of planting, that way I know they will sprout. As far as cultivar selection, as far as I am aware, there is only one standard elephant garlic. It's the same. If you are aware of other elephant garlic cultivars, then please drop the name of it below in the comments. Elephant garlic is planted in the fall for all gardeners, no matter the zone. They grow during the fall, winter, and spring and are harvested sometime in the summer. So make sure you gather your bulbs or place your orders online in time to plant the bulbs in the month of September and October. My bulbs are ready, so I'm going to show you guys how to plant them into the garden along with care tips so you can grow the biggest bulbs possible. It's important that you select a good spot to grow elephant garlic. They require full sun and they grow best in soil that is rich in compost or organic matter, but on the sandy side. So that way the bulbs can easily push out and grow. So here's all the garlic that I'm going to be planting right now. First, you want to go through each bulb and separate them all into individual cloves. See if any of them have gone soft or if they're growing mold or something like that on them. Those are not good for planting, so just throw them out. It is also a good idea to plant the bigger cloves because they're going to yield the biggest bulbs. This one right here is on the smaller side. You can still plant it, of course, but again, it's not going to give you as big of a bulb at the end of the season like this one will. This is the spot that I've chosen to plant my elephant garlic this season. It gets bright, full sun here. The soil is pretty loose and it's free of any kind of weed. You'll want to space your elephant garlic at least 6 inches apart. And if you're planting them in rows, space those rows 1 to 2 feet apart because these plants get pretty big. I just installed this drip irrigation system in my garden and it came with some flat drip tape that has emitters spaced 6 inches apart. So that's perfect spacing for my elephant garlic. I'm gonna plant one clove right underneath the emitters that are already built into the drip tape 6 inches apart for that perfect spacing. And if you wanna see how I installed this very same drip irrigation system in my garden, I did make a YouTube video tutorial, which I will link in the description below. Elephant garlic cloves are planted much deeper than regular garlic cloves. you're going to want to dig a hole that is 3 to 4 inches deep. I'm going to start by digging out all of the holes first. I finished digging up all my holes. Now you have to put some kind of fertilizer in the planting hole before you plant the cloves. No matter what I'm growing, if I'm transplanting it into the garden, I always add some sort of fertilizer into the planting hole to help that plant get established much faster. Just like with regular garlic and onions, nitrogen is the most important component when it comes to fertilizing your elephant garlic, starting with planting them, and then you stop fertilizing 1 month before harvest. The reason why nitrogen is so important when it comes to growing elephant garlic is because the more leaves or the more garlic tops you have, the better the capacity for that plant to harness the sun's energy to produce bigger bulbs. Commercial growers use ammonium sulfate or nitrate because it's super high in nitrogen. Just to give you an example, it's usually at least 20% by weight nitrogen compared to the rest of the nutrients in that fertilizer. So that's pretty high. You can go with something organic like Job's or Espoma brand Garden Tone, but just add in some extra nitrogen in the form of blood meal. Me personally, I'm going to use what I have on hand. I have a lot of this Espoma brand Garden Tone, which is a 3% nitrogen, 4% phosphate, and 4% potassium mix to increase the nitrogen significantly more than the other numbers. I was able to find some ammonium sulfate. So I'm just going to mix these two together. I'm just going to eyeball it and put some in the planting hole. Make sure you mix up the fertilizer with the soil a little bit before you put in your cloves. If you're using synthetic fertilizers, you never want the granules to be touching your plants or the bulbs of your garlic because it can burn them as well. I'm just putting a little bit of the ammonium sulfate, like a tablespoonful, into each planting hole. Then go back in, mix everything up with some of the soil before we start planting our cloves. Next, we're going to plant the individual cloves into the holes. When you plant your bulbs, you're going to want to put the pointy side up, and then the flat side, or which was the underside of the entire bulb, goes facing down. This is a huge clove, so just plant it with the pointy side up. Also, do not remove the skins off from the cloves. Leave the skins. That protects it from rotting out and different things in the environment. Like this one right here, the skin just fell off, so I'm not going to plant this. This is just going to rot out. Then just cover it with some dirt and water it in. You should start to see new growth or leaves appearing in about 2 to 3 weeks. There's a lot of other ways that you can plant and grow elephant garlic. It grows great in containers or grow bags, raised beds, or even raised rows where you take the soil and you kind of make a raised row with it. If you don't want to plant them in rows, that's completely fine. Elephant garlic, along with other members of the allium family, produce odors that repel pests. So they make for really great companion plants around and mixed in with your other vegetable crops. Just know that these plants get really big, 2 to 3 feet tall, so you don't want to plant them too close to your veggie crops because they can block sunlight from reaching your other plants. Elephant garlic has a shallow root system, so pay extra attention to soil moisture since the topmost few inches of soil dries out very quickly. Consistent water is good. If the leaves start to turn yellow at the tips, then you're watering way too much. Garlic is easily susceptible to root rot if growing in a spot that frequently gets waterlogged. Growing them in containers, grow bags, raised beds helps to maintain better drainage, especially if you're in a rainy or humid area like me here in Florida. Stop watering when you notice that the leaves are starting to turn yellow and bend over because that means it's almost time for harvest. So let's talk about fertilizing your plants now that they're growing in your garden. 2 weeks after planting, start fertilizing every week for the next 4 weeks. Again, use something high in nitrogen. Once you hit week 7 after planting, start fertilizing less often, about once every 3 or 4 weeks. Stop fertilizing altogether 1 month before harvest time. Elephant garlic takes about 6 to 7 months of growing time to be ready for harvest, so stop fertilizing at about the 5-month mark. Now let's discuss some common diseases and pests you might encounter when growing elephant garlic so you are prepared if they show up. The good news is that elephant garlic really doesn't have much pest or disease problems. Keep an eye out for aphids and slugs. If you get aphids, spray with an organic insecticidal soap. Set up traps for slugs or sprinkle diatomaceous earth around the base of your plants. Also watch out for fungal diseases like white rot and rust, which can affect the leaves and the bulbs. White rot looks like a layer of white powder over the outside of the bulbs, which usually indicates the inside has started to rot out. Diseases are usually caused by wet conditions or very high humidity. So the best thing is to prevent diseases to begin with by planting in well-draining soil with adequate spacing in between each plant so air can flow easily between all of the plants. If they get a rot type of disease, there really is no cure, and it's best to just pull out the whole plant so that disease doesn't spread to the rest of your crop. I just have a couple more care tips for you now that you've planted your bulbs, so that way you can grow the biggest elephant garlic bulbs possible. As the weather warms up in spring and summer, the bulbs might grow a scape or garlic flower. You will notice a stem that kind of shoots straight up with a flower bud at the top. Cut this off if you see it because it just steals energy away from bulb formation. It is not necessary to prune the leaves unless they are heavily damaged or diseased. Also, really important, keep the area as weed-free as possible because garlic and onions all have very shallow root systems, so other plants will easily steal nutrients away from them. Hopefully by following all of my tips, your bulbs are growing great and you'll have a big harvest. You know they're ready for harvest when the leaves start to bend and die back. They might turn yellow or brown. It's time to harvest all of those bulbs. Gently dig out the bulbs and cut off the leaves, leaving about 2 inches above the stems. Do not cut off the extra roots at this time. And then gently shake off any extra soil or even wipe it off, but do not wash it with water. The bulbs can be used right away, or you can cure them for long-term storage. To cure the bulbs, place them in a cool, dark spot to cure for about 3 to 8 weeks. If the area is humid, then it takes longer to cure. Spread the bulbs out in a single layer, not touching each other, so there's good airflow. Curing helps the outer layers to dry out and helps the bulbs store longer. Once they are done curing, cut off all those extra roots and wipe off any extra soil, but again, do not wash them with water. Elephant garlic bulbs don't last as long as regular garlic in storage. They last about 8 to 10 months. So use them up first. Check up on the garlic bulbs every so often to see if any are going bad or molding, and then remove those bad or molding bulbs because it can spread to the rest of them. Decide if you want to save some of your harvest to replant again next season. Pick out the biggest cloves to replant next season in the fall. So there you have it. We have planted our elephant garlic, and I explained how to take care of these plants going forward as the growing season progresses. I will be making a follow-up tutorial to this video when my elephant garlic is ready for harvest so I can show you when and how to harvest and cure them for long-term storage. So make sure you're subscribed to my channel, that way you get notified of when I release that video. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, please give me a big thumbs up. That helps out my channel more than you know. Also, if you have any tips for me or products that you feel helped you grow huge elephant garlic, please comment because I learn a lot from your comments and I really enjoy reading them. Happy gardening, and I'll see you in the next video.